Alright, this is a review of the AT Guide by David Awol Milner, Northbound 2016 edition. Alright, this book is 7.9 ounces. It's about 7.5 inches across this way and 5.25 inches this way. Let's get into it. So the first page here, let's focus it real quick. This page gives you a description of the symbols used throughout the book and what they mean and how to interpret them. Second page here, you can pause it if you want to read more. Second page here talks about how to read the book, how the book is organized, and how to read it. Yes, alright, moving on. This third page here, this third page is just a overview of the whole trail from Maine to Georgia, detailing the major cities it passes through and local airports. Alright. This book, by the way, does not have any maps beyond little diagrams like this, really. So you'll want to bring additional material. This book is just packed full of information regarding the trail and resources nearby, but not of maps. So this right here, this page talks about the mail drops. Gives you more detail on that. And right here we've got some information on how to get to Springer Mountain and outfitters near the southern terminus, and more about how to read the book and what to expect, and some cautionary notes. Here we get into the Amicalola Falls State Park map with some text info regarding the trail, the Appalachian Trail, and the approach trail within the state park. And so this now is the data sheet that you read throughout the. This is the gist of how the book is. These data sheets show you the elevation profile of the Appalachian Trail, and you've got data points as you go along, landmarks as you go, with descriptions here. So, for example, this is Amicalola Falls State Park. It's got a description of how to get to the trail. It's the archway behind the visitor center, and it's at an elevation of 1,800 feet, and it's got a reliable water source, restroom, and outfitter, and it's at mile 0. So the way that this book is laid out, it's got a southbound and northbound perspective. So as you're going northbound, it starts at 0 and your miles increase as you go northbound, right? So you can look at it from the opposite perspective, where you're going from Maine to Georgia southbound, and the miles will increase in that direction. So that's pretty handy. So whether or not you get the northbound or the southbound perspective, it doesn't really matter. But that's just my opinion. So, but the book starts. It's laid out where you start in Springer Mountain and go, and the end of the book is at Maine. Whereas I assume that the southbound book is the opposite layout. But it's got the same details no matter what. So you can keep that in mind. So if we take a look at, so this first page is just the whole approach trail. It includes the approach trail, and as you go to Springer Mountain, the miles start over back to 0. So you're going by the same miles that everyone else is going at or referring to. In terms of the elevation profile, I find that it's pretty accurate. You may come across some frustration where it doesn't include all of the very smaller details of the ups and downs within this one section, for example. But overall, from a zoomed out perspective, it is accurate. And the distance between each, landmark is pretty on point as well. So that's nice. So let's look at some details here. So I like that this book distinguishes between full reliable water sources and unreliable water sources by denoting the full water drop and the halfway full water drop. That's cool. I like that personally. And it also distinguishes between campsites and shelters, and it shows their capacity as well. So here at Black Gap Shelter, for example, it's got a shelter that can hold 7 people, and the surrounding area can fit 6 tents as well. And these notes here show that the shelter is 0.1 miles west of the Appalachian Trail. That's what these sort of things in parentheses mean. So it's got lots of detail, lots of detail, and as you can see, the page is full with detail. And it's not fluff detail; it's all things that are relevant to the hiker. So that's nice. Not a lot of wasted space. This is a cool feature here where at a shelter it'll show you it does the math for you. So saying between 2.6 and 5.3 right here is where Stover Creek is right now. And if you go, it shows you the shelters, the next 3 shelters down and how far they are. So the next shelter forward going northbound is 5.3 miles from Stover Creek, and then the next one is 13, and so on. So like, if you do the math, it'll work for you. It'll add up. So say you come across Stover Creek throughout the day and you're like, should I stop or should I keep going? You're gonna have to go another 5.3 miles to get to Hawk Mountain. So you can kind of determine that for yourself as you're going. But it's nice that it does the math for you. And let's see, what else? I wanted to point out that it's got the GPS coordinates for parking areas. So if you want to phone somebody to pick you up, for example, you can send them the direct GPS coordinates to where you are. So that's nice. And it's helpful for doing research beforehand too, to take a look at the parking area. That's just what I've done. Google Maps is a wonderful feature. So using the street perspective, to check out the parking area, that's just what I'm referring to. So anyway, let's give you a nice focused look here, so you can pause it and take a look at the details yourself. In the next page here. So moving on, you'll come across maps like this where it gives you a layout of the Appalachian Trail and the town that you come across. So it's got town maps, little town maps, and where the outfitters and resources within the town are. And it's got a description here on this next page of the town resources. Things like outfitters, hostels, post offices, things like that. And you can pause and read that for yourself again if you'd like to know the details. But it's jam-packed full of information. So the whole book is laid out like that with these elevation profile data sheets, and then you'll come across these town maps with detailed services, details of the services within the town. And it's just like that, the whole book. So some people will break this book up into sections based on where they're hiking and or maybe what section they are in. If they're through hiking or section hiking, they'll break it up and put in their next mail drop, for example, or just only bring whatever section if they're hiking. My perspective is from a section hiker point of view. So, just to show you what I've done, I've made a little waterproof, small, pocket-sized version of it. So let me zoom in for you here, or focus it rather. There you go. So this is just a pocket-sized version that includes all the details of the book. From this one, for example, is everything from Emicole Falls State Park to North Carolina-Georgia border. So it definitely saves some weight and size when you spend the time to do something like this. So, to each their own. Just an example of what I do. But yeah, that's about the gist of this book. That's a general overview. I will link to the 2017 version because that's when I'm recording this video. So I would definitely recommend getting the most up-to-date version of this book. So it'll include all the most recent things like maybe phone number changes or anything like that, which can, if you need that phone number, you're gonna want to have the most up-to-date phone number. So yeah, that's the gist of it. Let me know if you like this review, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any of your questions. But that's just the overall review, and thank you for watching. Enjoy your hike.